Have you ever stood at a party, nodding along, while your own mind was quietly begging the conversation to end? Science says that's not rudeness, that's wiring. And by the time we get to reason number one, you'll understand exactly why. Not because perceptive people are better than anyone else in the room, not because they think they are. Something underneath the surface is simply refusing to cooperate, and until now, nobody's actually explained what that something is. It's not personality, it's processing. 6 reasons. Let's go. Number 6. The words run out of meaning before the sentence even finishes. There's a real phenomenon called semantic satiation, where a word or phrase repeated enough times temporarily stops meaning anything at all. Say, "How are you?" in your head 15 times. Watch it dissolve into noise. Small talk hits perceptive minds with a version of this almost daily, because the ritual phrases are so predictable, so heavily scripted, that the brain starts processing them as pattern instead of communication. How's it going? Not bad, you? Crazy weather. By the 4th repetition of the week, these aren't questions anymore. They're empty containers. And a mind built to search for meaning keeps reaching inside them, coming up with nothing over and over. That's not loud exhaustion. It's the quiet kind. The kind that slowly drains the color out of a room. Number 5 sounds almost insulting until you understand the mechanism behind it. Their brain charges rent for low information exchanges, and small talk almost never pays it. Back in 1982, psychologists John Cacioppo and Richard Petty introduced something called need for cognition, a measurable trait describing how much a person genuinely enjoys effortful thinking. People high in need for cognition treat their attention like expensive real estate. How about this weather? Doesn't just fail to pay rent on that space, it actively drains the account. Cacioppo's later research found these same people are more comfortable sitting still with their own thoughts than chasing outside stimulation. People lower in need for cognition get restless faster, and they reach for exactly the kind of low-stakes chatter that keeps a room feeling safe. So when a perceptive person hears, "crazy weather we're having," their brain runs a silent cost-benefit check and returns one result: insufficient funds. They're not judging the weather. Their attention system just quietly declined the transaction. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Number 4. Perceptive brains detect the gap between what someone says and what someone means automatically, with no switch to turn it off. Most small talk is scripted on purpose. How are you? Good. You? Nobody expects an honest answer, and everybody quietly knows it. But a perceptive brain doesn't just hear the script, it hears what's sitting underneath it. The flicker of exhaustion behind the smile, the forced enthusiasm, the sentence someone clearly didn't want to finish out loud. That decoding isn't a choice. It runs whether they want it to or not, which means every "fine, thanks" gets processed twice. Once for the words, once for the 6 things the words are quietly covering up. For most people, small talk is a rest stop. For a perceptive mind, it's a translation job nobody agreed to take, and nobody's paying them for. Number 3 has a name most people have never heard, even though they've felt it 1,000 times: surface acting. Sociologist Arlie Hochschild coined the term emotional labor in 1983, describing the real psychological cost of performing an emotion you don't actually feel. Research since then has tied surface acting to fatigue and burnout, especially in roles that demand constant friendliness on command. A flight attendant smiling through turbulence, that's surface acting. You, nodding through a 12-minute story about someone's cousin's wedding, same mechanism, no salary attached. And here's the twist: perception makes this worse, not better. A highly perceptive person is painfully aware of the exact moment their smile stops matching what's happening inside them. That awareness doesn't help them fake it more convincingly. It just makes the performance louder in their own head, like trying to fall asleep while monitoring whether you're falling asleep. That specific, glassy, half-second too slow nod. You've done it. Everyone watching this has done it. That's not boredom. That's a mind running two processes at once, quietly resenting both of them. If that landed, drop a 1 in the comments right now. You'll be surprised how many people are running the exact same program without ever naming it. Number 2 might be the hardest one to hear, because it means you can't just try harder. Genuine interest cannot be manufactured on demand. Psychologists Edward Deci and Richard Ryan spent decades building what's called self-determination theory, drawing a hard line between intrinsic motivation, caring about something because it's inherently interesting, and extrinsic motivation, caring about something because the room expects it of you. Their research found something uncomfortable. You cannot simply decide to be interested. Deci's early experiments even showed that outside pressure to care about something can weaken real interest instead of building it. Interest behaves less like a choice and more like hunger. Ask a perceptive person to genuinely care about a stranger's fantasy football lineup, and you're asking them to be hungry on command. The machinery doesn't respond to that kind of input. A 2014 study by Gruber, Gilman, and Ranganath found that genuine curiosity activates the brain's dopamine circuitry in a way that even improves memory for unrelated information sitting nearby. No spark, no dopamine, and no amount of polite nodding fakes a neurotransmitter that isn't firing. This is also why small talk leaves perceptive people quietly drained, in a way loud, chaotic rooms sometimes don't. They're not running on reward chemistry. They're running on willpower alone, pedaling a car everyone else seems to be driving with an actual engine. 10 minutes in, they're not bored, they're out of fuel. And here's the one that ties every other reason together. Number 1. Perceptive minds are built to search for depth, and small talk is engineered on purpose to avoid it. In the 1970s, psychologists Erwin Altman and Dalmas Taylor developed social penetration theory, describing how relationships deepen through gradual, layered self-disclosure, moving from safe surface topics toward the more honest ones underneath. Small talk lives permanently on that outer layer. That's not a flaw in it. It's a social lubricant, not a destination. But a perceptive brain isn't built to enjoy the outer layer. It's built to keep tunneling toward whatever's underneath. The real opinion, the real feeling, the real person standing behind the script. When a conversation refuses to move past the weather, past the traffic, a perceptive mind doesn't experience that as easy and pleasant. It experiences it as incomplete, like a book that keeps restarting chapter 1. Every reason before this one, the rent charging attention, the automatic subtext detection, the expensive fake smile, the dopamine that won't show up, all of it is downstream of one mind that was simply built to go deeper, stuck inside a ritual that was built to stay shallow. And here's the part nobody explains at parties. This cuts both ways. The person who lit up during that wedding story can't fake fascination with whatever your brain finds genuinely interesting either. Nobody's mind is broken here. Every mind is just being honest, sometimes embarrassingly honest, about what it actually finds worth processing. So next time your attention quietly leaves a conversation about traffic or the weather, don't call it arrogance. Call it a highly efficient system politely declining to run software it was never built to run. And here's the part that actually matters more than any of the 6 reasons above it. Perceptive people aren't wired to reject people. They're wired to reject noise. Give them one real question, one honest thread worth pulling, and the same mind that just went quiet during small talk will lean forward, fully present, fully awake, like a light switching on in a room nobody realized was occupied. That's not social failure. That's a mind waiting for something worth its attention. So if you've ever stood at a party feeling quietly guilty for zoning out during a conversation everyone else seemed to enjoy without effort, that guilt was never yours to carry. Your brain wasn't broken, and it wasn't being difficult on purpose. It was just telling you the truth about the transaction it was being asked to make. Type your number in the comments right now. How many of these 6 actually hit home? If it's 4 or more, you already know exactly the kind of mind you've been carrying around. And there are more people exactly like you watching this than you'd guess from across any room. Subscribe if you want the rest of this map, because next time we're covering what perceptive minds are actually starving for instead of small talk, and it's not what you'd expect.